Shoulder pain sucks. I get it. In fact, just last year, I hurt my shoulder pretty badly in a jiu-jitsu competition.
Beautiful, beautiful. Pull back.
I hate watching that footage. I trained for so many months and it was over in 10 seconds. And I had to wear a sling for the 2 weeks after that. But one thing I did know is that I had to get back into my strength training as soon as possible to get me back on track. So what I did is I employed some simple principles and exercises to get me there. And Alicia and I are going to take you through them right now. Okay, Alicia, let's now go through 3 principles that you can use when you're trying to exercise with shoulder pain or injury.
That's right. So first up, we're going to start low and go slow.
yeah.
So post-injury, Jack couldn't do what he was doing prior to the injury. He had to find a manageable entry point. So that's what we're going to do for you. And we're also going to show you how to modify exercises. So we're about to do that in the 3 exercises up next.
Great. And I'll say the third principle is to let yourself know that it's okay to exercise if your pain is tolerable. So obviously I was very sensitive after my injury, but as I was going through the strength exercises, I just made sure it was tolerable during the exercise and after, and that set me up for success.
That's right. All right, let's get stuck into these 3 shoulder exercises.
Alrighty, so one of the first exercises I tried to get back into after I had my shoulder injury was the shoulder press. So Alicia, we're going to show them the full shoulder press. So simply lifting the weights from your shoulder right up overhead. And you'll need to show that from the side as well to see what it looks like. Just keeping the weights in line with the middle of her body, just like that. Now, Alicia, you'd probably agree this is one of the hardest exercises for people who are coming back from a shoulder injury.
Definitely. People generally find overhead activities can be quite aggravating, can't they?
Yeah, and I fully empathise with that. So let's just say you do have the range of motion to get your arms overhead, but you're still getting pain with the weight you're using. Keep it simple. Let's just reduce the weight down. So we had 4 kilos there. She's going 1 kilo each hand. So let's just bring it right back. Cool. Let's just say that works for you. You've reduced the weight. Well done. Okay. You can then work and slowly build up. You know, that start low, go slow principle. Build up to more and more weight over time. But a lot of people might find it hard to get all the way overhead, as we just said. So changing the range of motion to just a little half overhead press is a good way to go. And often we find that can help people as well. So there's another option there. Okay, but Alicia, often we find that people can't actually physically get their hands overhead because they're a bit restricted.
That's right, they have that restriction in the range of motion.
Yep, and this is where a chair comes in handy. We've got a little bench in the background here, as you can see. Some people have a bench at home or in the gym they can use, but this is a mad alternative here. So you can see Alicia's not actually technically having to get her hands overhead because she's leaning back, but it's still getting up overhead, so it's a nice balanced exercise. So leaning back in the chair, you can see Alicia's torso there. Okay, it's at about a 45-degree angles, allowing her to get more and more overhead, which is kind of a cool one there. And you can apply the same principles there of reducing the weight or changing the range of motion as well. So that's a really useful exercise because in daily life, you're obviously going to have to lift your hands overhead. So you might as well work back to that kind of function and get it stronger in that range of motion.
All right, so this is our second exercise, the bent over row.
Cool, I'll show the full version.
The full version, as you can see, Jack is bending over. He's getting his torso nice and parallel to the ground, and he's lifting his arms up, shooting his elbows towards the ceiling. So, and changing angle there. Now this is an exercise that a lot of people with shoulder pain do find tolerable.
Yeah.
Unlike the overhead version, if you can't do that and you're finding that a little bit too sensitive at this point in time, you can try this one.
For sure.
Now, if this is aggravating, you can, number 1, reduce the weight. So that might then be a little bit more tolerable for you. But another thing that we can do is change the tempo and slow the exercise down.
I found this really helped for me when I had my shoulder pain, is slowing the movement right down. Makes it a little bit harder.
Yes.
But you'd usually just use some lighter weight anyway.
Some lighter weights. So it's exactly the same exercise, but as you can see, Jack is doing it in slow motion.
Yeah.
So,
and I found definitely just on the way down, it really helped because you can get quite apprehensive to let the weight down when you do have shoulder pain. So doing it slowly, I feel like gives you a bit more confidence.
yeah, and these exercises are just as much about improving your confidence as they are about improving your shoulder strength.
Okay, great exercise. Okay, the third exercise that I recommend people do when they're recovering from shoulder pain and trying to build those robust shoulders is front raises. So Alicia, just show the full version of front raises. Okay, we're literally raising our hands up to about 90 degrees. Okay, and this is really good for the front of our shoulders here. Now, this can be quite bothersome for people when they're doing this exercise. So once again, you can always reduce the weight or change the range of movement, just do a smaller range of movement, okay? But what if that doesn't work and you're still getting shoulder pain doing this exercise? A nice little tip, Alicia, just bend your arms a little. So if you bend your arms, well, firstly, you're changing the range of motion a little bit, but it's just putting a little bit less stress on the shoulder during that movement, okay?
Yeah, you can really feel it. It makes it quite a bit easier.
Yeah, great. Now let's just say that's not working either. We'll then drop one of the weights, and this is a good little tip. So let's just say Alicia's got right shoulder pain, okay? She's struggling with the one arm. Her left hand, by holding the other side of the weight, is actually helping her get up to the full movement. So I find this is a really helpful tip for when people are first starting out with this exercise. And then once again, you could even just stick with this exercise, doing the two-handed version, don't you think, Alicia? And then just increase the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good one. You know, we lift so many things in our daily life in that position, and yeah, it's going to be a great one for building more resilience in your shoulder. Okay, so remember, when you are in the process of recovering from a shoulder injury and improving your strength and function, you're likely to get some amount of pain. But do remember that if the pain is tolerable, you are okay to continue. It's going to be all right.
You can include these exercises in your twice weekly strength training.
Yep.
You might aim for between 8 and 15 repetitions, and you can increase the difficulty slowly, and you can do this by either adding weight or picking a more difficult variation.
That's right, so make sure you go and try those 3 exercises out for more robust shoulders.
Strength is so important as we age. If you want to work on your strength, you can check out a completely free workout via our Be Mobile platform. All you need to do is hit the link below and sign up.